Flying Machines by Tess Mason. What you already know. We use technology each day without even noticing it. Technology means using science to help us solve problems. People think up or invent ways to use science and technology. New inventions change the way people live. One thing that has changed is the way we get from place to place. This is transportation. At one time, we could only walk. Now we drive cars and fly planes. These kinds of transportation have engines. An engine is a machine that does work. Another invention that has changed how we live is the vaccine. A vaccine is medicine that can help prevent disease. Doctors use technology in other ways too. Technology also helps people communicate, have fun, and work. A meteorologist studies the weather with information from satellites. A satellite is an object that revolves around a larger object. Satellites in space send pictures back to Earth. Meteorologists look at the pictures and tell us about the weather. Technology is manufactured or made. Sometimes technology is manufactured by people, or sometimes machines do the work. One of the most important technologies ever invented and manufactured is the flying machine. Flying machines have changed transportation. Today they are an important part of everyday life. Up, up and away. Have you ever been on a plane? What about a helicopter? Maybe you've dreamed of flying to the moon. 100 years ago, planes were just a dream. Now we can get on an airplane and fly anywhere in the world. It took people thousands of years to get to this point. For centuries, people have looked at birds fly through the skies, wishing they could do the same. People in China even tried to fly on kites 3,000 years ago. Leonardo da Vinci was a great artist and inventor. In the 1400s, he studied bird wings to make the first flying machines. For the next few hundred years, people tried many different ways to fly. The first airplane left the ground in 1903. Since then, we have learned a lot more about flight. Today there are many kinds of flying machines, such as planes, helicopters, and space shuttles. Hot air balloons. One of the first flying machines was the hot air balloon. Warm air is lighter than cool air. Warm air rises. Hot air balloons can rise up in the sky because they are filled with hot air. In 1783, the Montgolfier brothers used this idea. They made the first successful hot air balloon. To heat the air, they burned straw and wool. These days, hot air balloons use propane for fuel. The propane fires the engines that heat the air. Hot air balloons are a great way to fly, but they are hard to steer. They are not easy to use for traveling. Even so, in 2002, Steve Fossett became the first man to fly a hot air balloon all the way around the world. Airships. Since hot air balloons are so hard to steer, early inventors kept searching for a better flying machine. In 1852, Henri Giffard flew the first airship. The airship uses gases that are lighter than air, such as helium. This lets them rise up into the sky. Airships have an engine so they can be more easily steered. Today, some airships can stay up in the air for days. Powered flight. Aviators are people who fly aircraft and study flying. Powered planes are planes that use engines and fuel, such as gasoline, to fly. Two aviators called the Wright brothers made the first powered airplane flight. Their plane was called the Flyer. It weighed 605 pounds. The flight only lasted 12 seconds. The Flyer traveled 120 feet. The Wright brothers' historic first flight led to today's airplanes. The success of the Wright brothers' first flight inspired inventors all around the world. Many people tried to build their own aircraft and came up with new ideas. In 1909, Elise de Roche became the first female pilot in the world. In the same year, Louis Blériot flew across the English Channel in his monoplane, the Blériot 11. Blériot designed the first successful monoplane. Mono means one. Monoplanes have only one pair of wings. The Wright brothers used a biplane design. Bi means two. Biplanes have two pairs of wings. The monoplane could fly faster than the biplane, but the biplane was safer. It did not crash as often. In World War I, triplanes were invented. Tri means three. Triplanes had three pairs of wings. This made them easier to handle. Pilots could see better out of triplanes because the wings were shorter. Airplanes became more and more important. In 1933, a company called Boeing flew the first modern passenger plane. It was called the 247. It carried 10 passengers. More than 30 years later, in 1969, Boeing flew the jumbo jet. The jumbo jet can carry more than 400 passengers. It is still the largest airplane in the world. Soon, people started using airplanes for work. The U.S. Postal Service flew its first cross-country mail service in 1920. By 1924, it started a regular airmail service between New York and San Francisco. Planes carried mail much faster than trains had done. The military has invented some of the fastest planes. The SR-71 Blackbird flew from New York to London in less than 2 hours. A regular plane takes about 6 hours to make this trip. Helicopters. The first useful helicopter was made in 1936 by Heinrich Foch and Gerd Actulis. Helicopters are used for many things. They are small and fast to turn. Helicopters can hover. This means they can stay in the air without moving. They can also land without a runway. Helicopters are used for rescuing people. They are also used for observing animals in the wild. Future flights. From kites to the first airplane, flying machines have come a long way. Now we have helicopters and jet planes. We even have space shuttles that fly into outer space. People keep inventing new ideas for ways to fly. Maybe someday we'll be able to fly without planes. Who knows what we can do next? The sky is the limit.